Hey guys, it's Chris here from Chris's Creative Life, and I'm here to do something I think that's going to be super fun during the month of February 2024. So I'm assuming that it's no secret that you might have noticed in the new Love Notes collection that Close to My Heart has released that there is a scrapbooking workshop. It's probably actually also no surprise that you might have realized that I designed the workshop. I don't normally say which ones I design or talk about it on here, but because the photographs make it very apparent this time that I did it, I thought we might have some fun during the month of February with it. So sometimes when the workshop committee design workshops, sometimes we make a second set as like a sample set. This time, because of the way things were happening, everything had to happen very quickly. I didn't keep a second version of this workshop. So I thought it might be fun during the month of February to create it along with you. So today in this video, because we're right at the beginning of the month, I thought first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cut the papers with you. So anybody that's actually ever created one of my workshops, I always have a few things that are under like general directions for a workshop, and it's kind of no different with this one that I designed. So there's a cover page, right, with the layouts that I'm going to create. Then there's a supply list. So I'm going to grab just the pieces, just the products that I'm actually going to cut up today for the workshop. So you can order the bundle, which they always do, so you get a little bit of savings. And the bundle will include the paper pack, sticker sheets, coordinating cardstock, some extra pieces of cardstock, the photo place card holders, the puffy stickers, and the stamp and thin cut, which is so cute, you guys. I was so excited to create this workshop. So I obviously don't need the stamp and thin cuts. I don't need my puffy stickers right now. I don't need my photo place card holders right now. So I'm just going to grab my paper and my cardstock, and I'm going to put you down on my desk, and we're going to start cutting the layouts. So one of the first things that I actually do before I start though, I'm going to grab my trimmer, like I said, and the paper. Off to the side of me, I have a small table that's got enough room that I can make 3 piles in this instance because it's 3 double page spreads. So after I cut a piece of paper, I'm going to just move it right over to the pile it belongs in. Some people make a note on their piece of paper. I just put it in the pile, and then when I come back to it, I figure out the pieces and where they all go. And like I said, the next step of this series is going to be, I'm going to assemble all of those layouts on camera and put them together, and then I will have my own set of the layouts. So I'm just going to grab my supplies, turn up some more lights, put you down on my desk, and we'll get started. Okay, you guys, here we go. I've gathered my bundle. I'm just going to pull out a few things. I've set aside the stamp and thin cut, and I'm going to put aside my puffy stickers. I'm going to put aside my sticker sheets, and we're going to get started. So one of the first things I do is I know there are 3 2-page spreads. So I have a little stack of Post-it notes here, and I'm going to just put down layout 1, layout 2, and layout 3, and I'm going to set it aside. And then as I cut my papers, I'm going to add them to the piles. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull out the background pieces for the 3 layouts, and that will start my piles off to the side. Like I said, I can't obviously show all of that on camera, but here we go. We are going to, we've gathered our supplies, we've made our Post-it note pile. So our 3 base sets of base pages are toffee, scarlet, and peach. So I have my cardstock here in a pile. So I'm going to grab my toffee bases, and they will become pile number 1. So there we go. And then I have scarlet. So this is the darker of the 2 reds. The candy apple is the like bright red. So 2 scarlet bases. And then 2 peach bases. So I'm just gonna set my cardstock aside because I know that we're gonna cut the decorative paper first. Then we will do the cardstock. So there it's labeled with number 3. So like I said, I just have them sitting right beside me. Okay, so then we can flip to our cutting guide. I'm just gonna lay this over here. You guys can find the cutting guide and all the information just under more on, or under the product details for Love Notes. So I'm going to just put the papers in order I'm going to cut them. So it's this really super pretty floral I'm going to cut first, and then the dots, and then the hearts. Oh, they happen to be in the right order. How perfect is that? Okay, so we're going to cut the first 2 pieces of paper. So I'm going to cut my first piece of paper. I'm going to cut off the zip strip, and that's going to be in for layout number 2. And so the first one is for the left hand side. And so like I said, when I made my piles over to the side, I have just the 12 by 12. I'm going to stack the pieces for the left page on the left hand side and the pieces for the right page on the right hand side. Okay, so pile number 2, that's the scarlet. Then I'm going to flip this. We are going to cut a 12 by 1. And this is going to be on the reverse side. So the cute little teddy bear paper on the left side there. Same cut again. This time it's going for number 2 on the right hand side, and I'm actually going to cut this one over this way so that I have most of my paper against the top so that my paper doesn't go crooked on me while I'm cutting. So this is number 2 right. Then I have a 2-inch piece by 10 3/4, so 2 inches. And this one is going on this pretty floral, and it's going to be on the first layout, so 10 3/4. And this can go into my scrap pile. So this is the number 1 left. And then I have a 6-inch piece. And this is actually supposed to be 10 3/4. Let me just make sure that I cut that correctly. Oh yes, I did. I was looking at the next one. I thought I cut it wrong. But so this one is 10 1/2. And that one gets flipped over. And this is on 1 left. And then we should have 2 inches left. And this one is also 10 1/2. And this is on 2 right. 1 right, sorry. If you got to that layout and the piece was not in the right pile, I'm sure you could figure it out. So Like I said, I just thought that this might be fun to show you how I cut it up. It should be very quick to actually cut up. So again, this is the full zip strip. This is 2 right. And then we have 2 by 6 twice. So I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to cut at 4. Set this aside for a second and cut it 2. And then these are both 6 inches, and they're on, 2 of them go on the left and 2 of them go on the right, and they're on the floral side. Okay, so 2. And then this is 6 by 11.5. And this is for 3 left. And that is also on the right side. So now we've got this fun little dot. I love this little zip strip with the little flowers on it. And these are going on layout number 3. So this is 11.5. For 3 left. Sorry, I just had to grab a quick drink so I could stop coughing there. So for this piece, I'm going to cut it at the 6-inch mark and then cut my pieces out. So at this point too, you'll see there are some pieces that do eventually get stamped and thin cut. So I need a 4.5-inch piece, and that will eventually get, this is for 2 left, and it gets thin cut. And then I need the same size for the right hand side, and it gets also thin cut. So 4.5. I do believe these are the envelopes on layout number 2. That thin cut is super cute. So I'm actually going to just stack these together because they're thin cuts, and I'm going to put them at the top of my pile, just above, so that I know where I am, the pieces that I have to then do something else with. And then I'm going to cut these 2 into 3-inch pieces. And these are also, these are now stamped and then fussy cut out. And these are for layout number 1, so I'm going to put them at the top. It just indicates to me that I have something else I have to do. So now I'm over here and I'm going to cut the 2 by 6-inch piece, and that's for layout number 3. This is going to get dovetailed, but I'll do that at the point where we're assembling the layout. And then these pieces are now 10 inches, so I can cut these both at 3 inches, and one is for, they're both for layout number 1. And one is for the left and one is for the right. So now we have our second piece. So this zip strip is to 10 inches and it's for 3 right. Okay, so now these are some easy cuts, so I'm going to cut my 5-inch by 12, and again my 5 by 12, and these are for layout number 2, and they get flipped over onto this fun side. And then this 2 inch piece gets cut down to 11.5 and it gets flipped over. And this is for layout number 3 on the left. Okay, so our last piece of decorative paper. Okay, the little hearts are super cute too. So this is for layout number 1, this first zip strip. And I'm just going to leave this all, well, no, I'll cut it off. So it says 11.25. Okay, so this is for one left. And if you cut something and then you can't remember which way your paper goes, if you just double check, especially something like the stripes, right? So you can see here, then I need to cut like this for my stripes, but this is the right side. So I will start with, we're going to do 3.5. So I'm going to do all of my long cuts here first, and then I'll trim them down to the right size. So I have a 3.5 and a 3.5. And then my end piece should be 5, which it is. So now I'll cut the length. So I need, these are both 11 and they're for layout number 1. So I have a left and a right. And this one goes down to 10.5 and it gets flipped over. And this is for layout number 1 on the right. Okay, and then our last piece of decorative paper. Again, this is 11.25, and this one goes for layout number 1 on the right. Okay, so same thing. I'm going to cut my across measurements first. Just need to move that so I can actually see what they are. Maybe I'll just do this so I can move it over a little bit. So I have a 2.5 and a 2. And a 1.5. Okay, and I just stacked them here in the same order that I've cut them so that I know which order they are. So now I'm going to do 6 by 10. And this is for 3 right. So this is my 1.5 inch piece, and I'll just double check sometimes just to make sure. And this one is by 10. And this one also gets flipped over for 3 right. So then this is 2, and I'll just double check. Make sure I didn't grab my 2.5 inch piece. So this one is by 10. And it's going on 3 right. And then this is my 2.5 inch piece, and it's going to be by 11. And this is 3 left. Okay, so now we're going to start cutting our cardstock. So I have shortbread here and the true side of shortbread. And so my first cut is at 6.25. I'm going to set this aside. So now I need 2 that are at 4 1/4, and this is for layout number 1 left. And 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, and this is 2 left. So this is 4 1/4, 6 1/4, 1 right, and then 3 1/4. So this is 2 right. My second piece of shortbread. So on the true side, 4 1/4, by 6 1/4, 1 right, and then this is 3 by 2 1/2, and this piece again is going to be stamped and thin cut, so I'm going to put it at the top edge of my layout in my pile for pieces that I have to do something else to. These are the mats for layout number 2. So 2 of them. And then I have some more pieces that I have to do some things to. So this is for layout number 2 in my pile of things I have to do. This is for layout number 1. Okay, so moving right along. Now we're going to cut our candy apple. And the first one is super easy. Nine 1/4. By 6, and I have 1 left and 1 right. So these are some mats for layout number 3. These both go on the left. And some more mats for layout number 3. The first one's for the right. And then we have a left and a right. And some more mats. And then we just have a few super easy cuts left. So I have a piece of white daisy. I have a feeling this is going to make my camera go crazy, so sorry about that. But so layout number 1, I need a piece that's 11 1/2. Oh my goodness, yes. by 11.5. We're going to do, let me see. I'll see if I leave this here, if that'll help. So these create the bases for layout number 1. So a left and a right I have. And again, 11.5 by 11.5, and these are for my layout number 2. No, layout number 3. And then this is our last piece of white daisy, and these are some strips that we're going to stamp on. Not beforehand, as part of the layout. So 2 left and 2 right. And then the last little piece that I have to cut is a journaling box that's going to go onto layout number 3. So I'm going to quickly bring my piles back and I'll show you. So this is our leftover. Hold on to it in case maybe you made a mistake, right? Or you want to do something else, add a little bit of extras somewhere along the way, right? So I'm just going to set this to the side. And I'll show you what my piles look like. Right, so here we go. So this is layout number 3, and this is my left and my right, and that's what I mean about that's how I stacked them up. And now I'm actually just going to stack the 3 on top of each other. And this is exactly pulling it over from my pile. So you can see here, these pieces at the top are the pieces that I know I need to do something else with. So I'm just going to put a little post-it note here, and I know that these are my pieces that I'm going to do something else with. And obviously, you know, at this point it's stamping and thin cutting, right? So same thing with this one. These are our pieces that are going to create the super cute little bears. And see, my number 1 is down there. So these are my stamp and thin cut pieces. So these are actually in like the prep steps when you go to the instructions. So this is going to conclude the cutting version of the Love Notes video. I'm going to stop it here, and then over the course of the next month, you'll see me come back and I'm going to create each of the layouts. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you maybe found this useful. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below, and you'll see me back here soon. Bye, guys.